Hey guys, welcome back to Keeping Up with the Nerds. This is going to be the first video coming out in a week-long video content and podcast content for you guys. This is going to be a short little video, pretty much including things that we couldn't fit into the podcast. Kind of smaller detail stuff that we really wanted to talk about because there was a lot.
There's a lot.
Way more. It was hours and hours and hours on end of just immense amount of content. So this is going to include the smaller stuff, pretty much our thoughts about the actual convention, I guess you could say. So let's go ahead and start with how did we see the DC Fandome, because we were both stuck at work, but we try to get as much information as possible.
So luckily DC Fandome, or DC the company, decided to just put this all on one website. It wasn't like we had to hear about it from different, or from IGN essentially, you know, like this panel will be here. It was a 24-hour stream essentially on DCFandom.com.
Yes.
So that, in my opinion, was really good because I was able to watch it at work. Because I work at a comic book store, so don't worry, you know. Like he's like, oh, he's watching DC Fandom while he's working.
What?
Like,
no, this is legitimate research.
It's research. No, and then I just had it in my earbud and just I watched it on my phone, but kind of just like listened to it as I was, doing what I do at my work and stuff like that. And you were trying to watch it at work when you had free time.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, really?
No.
You're admitting to it.
Yeah. So, you watched it on your phone, right?
I watched it on my phone.
Okay, so same thing. I watched it on my phone. I was trying to watch the panels here and there, pretty much. Interesting because for me, at least, I kind of noticed that once you went into the website, it directly took you into the panels.
That's the thing,
which was really good because I didn't have to navigate through any menus.
I was afraid of that too.
Yeah, it was just straight, seamless transition into the actual panels, and it dove you right straight into the live action kind of stuff, which is pretty damn good in my opinion. I think that was interesting. No distractions whatsoever. Did you notice at the end of the stream, they actually like told you, oh, we're gonna go back to the Wonder Woman panel and redo this entire panel again, or the entire convention, which is good.
Yeah, no, that's good because so that way people can see it that didn't catch it.
Exactly. So it's like content that no one misses. If you missed it, then you can go back.
Yeah.
And as I was working on the outline for today's podcast, or Wednesday's podcast, excuse me, I was listening it in the background as well to try to get things that I didn't that I might have missed. And yeah, it was accessible. It was like, you catch on new things and there was no problems at all.
No.
So in one of the podcast episodes, I think it was the one for issue 11.
Yeah.
We talked about how they were going to be split up into different verses, right? Because it was like the Hall of Heroes, you had the Insiders verse, the U verse. It was like a verse for the kids and stuff like that. Did you notice that those items weren't accessible on the phone?
No, they weren't. The only thing that was accessible on the phone was the merch.
Yes,
there was like a little
right
thing that you could scroll down, and the only thing that you could watch on your phone was basically the whole stream. Like it was just the stream, that was it.
Yeah.
There wasn't no I can go here and go there. If anything, that would probably be my one complaint. But other than that, it was still great just to kind of listen. It was like listening to a 24-hour podcast for me. I just had it in my earbud.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to everyone, all the panels and stuff, discussing everything they're showing. It was just really simple.
Yeah.
That's what makes it better than the whole Comic-Con experience.
Okay, good transition to that because we are going to try to compare this to the Comic-Con experience that was showcased pretty much, a month ago?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So that one was a little more difficult. I think that we can't necessarily give it a 100% comparison because we didn't go on the actual website to check it out, right?
Well, because we didn't know how to do it.
Okay.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why we have.
We can use Google, but
we could
technically, it wasn't problem number one. It wasn't advertised as well.
No, but was it even on a self-contained website though?
It was, from what I understood.
Okay.
It was similar to it, but you pretty much kind of hit the nail right on top of the head, where it wasn't properly announced. If you looked at different articles, it kind of told you where exactly you can go to pretty much watch the Comic-Con panels. DC Fandom was more direct. There were Twitter posts. There were
Twitter
announcements.
Was blowing everything out.
Everything. And then HBO Max.
HBO Max. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were advertising the Fandome as well with little snippets of advertisement in there. Jim Lee. Jim Lee went on and pretty much just advertised the heck out of it as well.
No, definitely.
And I think it was a week before the actual event, they did that little advertisement, but that little video.
like a little trailer almost in a way. Yeah.
So I know we're talking about Comic-Con,
Yeah.
but did that trailer not give you that sense of nostalgia with the Superman intro?
Oh yeah, that was great.
It was perfect.
It was
It was
awesome.
great in my opinion, because it was
They
the
did a good
classic Superman song that everyone knows when
Mhm.
you think of Superman.
Oh, they definitely.
So like they knew how to get you, like how to get your attention. But I think that you hit it right on the head.
Mhm.
It was pretty much not advertised as well for Comic-Con. Conventions and panels and stuff like that. From Comic-Con, you got it from where?
So IGN or Facebook or
It's just
what was
outside
it?
media,
Yeah,
basically.
or YouTube, like whatever they posted on YouTube, you know.
But you didn't catch any of the things live.
No, I never caught anything live. I just caught them like the night of, basically. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the panels are on like this YouTube channel and stuff like that.
So, did you kind of find yourself looking at this DC fandom with more excitement over anything that would have been possibly announced at Comic-Con?
Definitely, because they were also advertising in between panels as well too. Like, oh yeah, the Snyder panel is going to start at around this time and stuff. So stay tuned, but we're going to show you the Flash panel first and stuff like that, which was even still pretty good. There were panels that I wasn't even interested at first, but they were still interesting because they were the way that they were presenting it and the way that they were talking about it and stuff, and aesthetically the green screen background that they had that they used, that Jim Lee created and stuff.
Oh, that was Jim Lee too?
Yeah, that was Jim Lee. He created all those backgrounds and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, which was pretty cool.
All right.
I think the one thing was some of the presenters or the hosts were a little kind of like cringy to watch. The way
But
they
that's
were.
every Comic.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There's always that kind of thing.
And this was their first time doing this, so I could let it slide. But at the same time, I'm watching it and I'm just kind of like, ooh, they're kind of cringy, but it's a little awkward. Their way that it transitions, like I am like the one with the video game with Arkham Knight. I mean, the Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights.
That whole transition when they showed the person after they're done, they're like, "Oh, I cannot wait to play that game."
Oh,
it
but
looks,
that's
I was like,
look,
come on,
Rene,
man.
if
you gotta sell it, man.
Okay,
Like,
hang on.
Yeah.
In their defense, even every E3 panel that has any form of video, like E3, you know, the ancient ways of conventions for video games at this point, you know, they still had their cringy panels.
You talking about the Jesse from Prank vs. Prank?
My name is Jesse Wellens, and I am a YouTube creator. So I am here to talk about Need for Speed Payback. If you guys didn't know, Need for Speed Payback, yeah, it's a great game. But all right,
I just look at the history of E3. Like it happens like everywhere.
Yeah.
What was it? The orchestra, the famous video, the Nintendo Wii
yeah.
orchestra thing, where everyone is playing
man.
instruments and stuff like that. Stuff happens.
I think
in
the
video
only
games.
good presenter was possibly Keanu Reeves for Cyberpunk on E3.
Yeah, but that's Keanu Reeves.
That's true.
Yeah,
but
so
like,
that's not a fair advantage.
you're
you know?
wonderful. Oh, you're amazing.
No, you're amazing. Okay, so to wrap this all
Yeah.
up, what were your impressions? Like basically, yeah, like I guess your final impressions or final thoughts of the DC fandom convention.
That I think this is possibly going to be a newer way that they might do it.
Okay.
You know, if not, they'll probably do it better now. You know, because this really was the best thing I've seen so far, at least throughout this whole thing that's happening to us right now. To have this was definitely a good little. It made me excited for what's to come in the future.
Excitement is that word,
Yeah.
and I want to hold on to that because if there's anything that I got out of this convention is that it made me excited to be a nerd again, and I think that there hasn't been anything in the last couple of months that has really brought that out of me.
Yeah.
And it's I know it's difficult because, you know, like you said, this whole pandemic thing has pretty much shut everything down. But I think that DC fandom pretty much just made me feel excited again about being a nerd. It brought everything that we wanted. I felt like DC understood and listened to its fans, whereas most other places or other companies necessarily haven't had the best experiences in that sense.
Definitely.
It was pretty much a stellar performance by DC Warner Brothers. I know that there's a second convention on September 12th.
Yeah. And
Yes.
It looks like that might be mostly focused on like the TV shows and stuff like
Yes,
that.
and some comics and stuff
Yeah.
like that were not kind of really announced.
Mhm.
But from what I understand is that this was more of like a rough outline for them, and it wasn't necessarily like the final product.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that the second one, from what I understood, is they're going to focus more on your preferences and scheduling and notifying you about panels that you're interested in, rather than having everything all at once. It'll be like, oh, instead of it being a continuous thing, this is a more consumer-based preference schedule, whatever you want to call it, right? That's I think what they're aiming for. So I don't know. I final thoughts, fantastic. It made me feel excited to be a nerd. DC fandom just knocked it out of the park.
Definitely.
Whereas most others really haven't. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this video up?
That's pretty much it. I don't want to give too much away.
Oh, I know. We still got much of the podcast.
We got so much to talk about, guys.
All right,
You'll
so
see.
so if you're watching this video, guys, keep in mind that the podcast will be coming out on Wednesday. This is going to be issue 12, and that's pretty much going to be all our thoughts on this, including, you know, the best thing to come out of the DC fandom convention.
I'm so excited.
So this is we'll talk about Batman in the podcast. So if you guys are interested, please click that notification button, and just if you're watching this on YouTube, you know, pretty much click that notification button to be notified of when the podcast goes up. We're hoping to aim it at under an hour, but you never know at this point with how much was pretty much, you know, talked about at the convention. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. I sound like a YouTuber now. This is weird. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening. If there's anything else you guys want to see from us, click or, you know, hit us up in the comments below. We'll be watching it, pretty much responding to anything, as well as our socials. There will be 2 more videos coming out, and these will be solo videos on our thoughts of the convention and our favorite parts of it. These will be most likely coming out after the podcast. So you're going to have the podcast on Wednesday, and then depending on how the schedule goes, there will either be a video coming out on Tuesday or a video coming out Thursday, Friday with our thoughts on the convention ourselves and our top 3 things coming out of that. So that way it doesn't necessarily spoil everything from the podcast. Again, click the notification button, hit subscribe if you're on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing coming out. I don't know what I'm talking about. But thank you guys so much for watching this video from Keeping Up with the Nerds. My name is Brian.
Rene.
And we're coming to you from the Fortress of Solitude, not the Hall of
Nerdom.
Yes. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you, guys.